My name is Patty. I'm 52 years old, originally from California, but I've lived in Dallas most of my life. What else? And I'm a One Direction fan. Okay, I originally got into One Direction kind of. I go to the movies every week with friends, and every week we would go and see the movie trailer for Where We Are. And then you couldn't get away from it. We saw that trailer every week for 6 weeks probably. I didn't see the movie in the theater, but by that time, Best Song Ever was stuck in my head. So whenever I heard it, I knew it was them. And then you just kind of, I'd see them on TV shows, or Jimmy Fallon would mention Harry, or they would be randomly like mentioned in a skit on Saturday Night Live or something. And then they were on Saturday Night Live, and then they were on the Today Show. So it was fairly organic. And then you follow them on Twitter, and then you kind of start to pay attention more, and then you find you start to look at stuff on Tumblr, and then it's over.
There was nothing that I had for me, myself, because I'd given so much to everybody else. I never really had anything for me, anything that I enjoyed myself that made me happy, and I found him one day just by Googling YouTube, not Googling, I guess I was searching videos on YouTube, and I ran across, I was searching for, I guess, funniest or silliest or worst auditions, and in the recommendations that came up, best auditions or something to that effect with One Direction, and I watched it, and that was just the end of this deal, and I was hooked after that. I watched probably someone put together their time on the X Factor, like a video, and I've watched that probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 times. And then I watched all the old interviews and the movies and the videos and the behind the scenes of the videos and interviews and, fan made videos and, Harry Styles' funniest moments and best moments on stage and, One Direction falling down and being goofballs. It was just, there's like millions of videos out there. I lost my job through a job I'd had a very long time and was very good at. I just had a boss who didn't like anybody who challenged her, so she got rid of all the staff that challenged her. And sadly, I was on that list. And it was really kind of difficult because I'd given that company almost 11 years of my life. I worked overtime for them. I worked 2 jobs at the same company. So it kind of felt like a betrayal. And I didn't leave in a very good emotional or mental place when I left California. I wasn't in a good place at all. And just finding them kind of gave me, like, I don't know, something to be happy about. It's something to escape my life and the sadness that I was feeling, and just go somewhere else for a while. Just enjoy them. I was able to, push aside, the troubles and the sadness and the depression that I had, and just get involved in the whole ordeal of One Direction. I mean, they're happy guys. They have fun, they laugh, they're adorable. So it was kind of like my escape from a bad time in my life.
I can't even remember the name of the site I used. It only was up and around for maybe 8 or 9 months. But at the time, it was kind of a message boardy kind of thing, and you could just go, you talk to people and you meet people. And at one point I just decided, you know what? I'm going to date. I think I gave myself a time period. I think I said a year, but I said, I'm just going to, if somebody wants to meet me, fine. I'll just say yes, and I will go, and that will be it, just to get out there. And it was good and bad at the same time. It was good in that I dated a lot of people, and I probably made up for all the dating I didn't do in high school or in my 20s. I did between the ages of 37 and 40. Some that lasted only one date, some that lasted maybe a couple of months. I dated multiple people at the same time. There was never any exclusivity in that year or 18 months, however long it lasted. And then during that time, I had met, and he was a boy. He was 17 when I met him. And we were just friends. He was actually a friend of a friend. And we talked. And it was after he turned 18, because I hadn't even considered anything. He met me and a friend at a gay bar, no less. And just for drinks one night after work. I don't even know how it even started, but just dancing and drinking or whatever. And we ended up making out in the car, and it was just amazing. And we ended up dating off and on for 5 years, for quite a while. And he was 17 years younger than me at the time.
The issue with Louis is they want him to be in a relationship with Harry more than they want Louis to be happy. I really believe that. So that's, I think, why they've glommed onto him and they've persecuted him so much for this baby and the baby mama and all this, because they want Harry and Louis to be together. And in some sections of the fandom, that's the only thing they believe. You know, there is no Louis straight, Louis possibly got a girl pregnant, even from a one-night stand. They don't believe that at all. They believe that it's some kind of stunt to portray him as heterosexual to the general public. And, you know, I admit I was kind of sucked into that whole thing in the beginning. There's some videos out there that, you know, some of the people have put together that really make you wonder. You sit back and you're like, whoa, maybe there is something. But, you know, if there was, there isn't anymore. If there wasn't, it never was. You know what I'm saying? Who's ever going to know? Nobody's going to know. Nobody's ever going to do an expose and say, oh my gosh, you guys were all right, or oh my gosh, you guys were all wrong. Those boys can be the vaguest people I've ever met in my life. They can like not answer things amazingly well, you know? But, so yeah, I think that in regards to Louis, everybody was so convinced that and they're mostly still convinced that he and Harry are still together. They're just very good at manipulating everything.
I was a huge Louis fan, which you can't help but, or at least I couldn't. It's Harry and Louis. That's just what it is. If he ever showed an interest in an actual female, yeah, if I felt like he actually showed an interest. If you look at pictures of him now, he doesn't even touch women. It's like, I can't even explain it. He doesn't even put his hands on them. So,
in the very beginning, I was very convinced that Larry was real. And that probably lasted, oh my gosh, probably like 6, 8, 10 months. I really firmly believed it. Because it's amazing the comparisons they can do and the conspiracies that you just get sucked into. You're like, oh my gosh, he did look at him that day, you know, for 5 seconds longer than he should have looked at him. Or, oh my gosh, you know, and there's a lot of things that are odd, like how a lot of their tattoos like correspond to each other. And it's very possible that neither one thought of the other one when they were getting their tattoos. And it just happened to be a very bizarre coincidence that they have complementary tattoos. But, you know, when you follow the Larry side of the fandom, they firmly believe that. You know, I'm not either way. I'm kind of like in the middle. You know, if it turns out that they were always together, great, that's fine, whatever. I just want them to be happy. If it turns out they're not together, you know what? I've come to that resolution already. I'm not an anti whatever. Those people are kind of like vicious, and I've tried to follow some just to see what the gossip is. It's painful, and I've had to unfollow them. And then you just know with the Larrys, you have to take it with like 30 grains of salt, because they've got the Larrys. Some of the Larrys have amazing imaginations. Amazing. I will give these people this. They can write some killer fan fictions, and they come up with some amazing theories. But I think sadly, a lot of it is just theory.
The whole thing with Louis, ew, she's a one-night stand. The fact that he's worth $11 billion if he was to sleep with a groupie, You do not have unprotected sex as a celebrity, period. And I know not everything works 100% of the time. But no, no, I don't think that's his child. I think there's a multitude, they're using multiple children, and it's not real. And from an outside perspective, if someone was to look at that relationship from the beginning to the end, they would say the person that they're saying he slept with and got pregnant is not the current person that is saying that she is the mother of his child, because she's got a whole new face. Somehow, in the time that she was pregnant and had a baby that is almost a year old, she has totally changed her face, which is medically unethical. So you can figure it out.
Louis was my favorite. He would, looks wise, he was what I would have been attracted to when I was a teenager. But I think sadly the whole drama surrounding the baby and I hate to say anything negative against him, but I was cheated on. So, and not that he cheated on anybody, it's just she's pregnant and he's already has a new girlfriend, and that's devastating. I mean, if you're not in that situation, that's so devastating. To, know that you're going through this pregnancy by yourself while the father of your baby's off picking a new girlfriend. And it's all over the world, the internet, the everything. I just think he could have done that more quietly.
I don't think she was ever pregnant. Is there a real baby? There is a real baby they're using now. In the first few months, I do not think they were using a real baby. I think it was a doll.
I still mostly follow a lot of Larry's, only because I think it's fun to see how they perceive things. I mean, I would never call them delusional. I think they are just very creative and they see things I think that a lot of regular people don't see. I always tell myself these women should honestly be in the FBI. I'm not even kidding you. I've never seen people take things and analyze them till there is no end. It just goes on and on and on. And I just think they see things that they want to see, and they interpret things the way that they want them to be interpreted. And I have a feeling that, if and when the whole truth ever comes out, I think it's sad that a lot of people are going to be hurt by it.
You see him with children since his son has been born, and he lights up around children, except for this one that is supposedly his, where he always just looks defeated. If it's PR related, I take all that with a grain of salt. So it is what it is. It's the entertainment industry, and that's, I see Selena in The Weeknd and just go, sure. And you both have new music out. So I'm a firm believer that we see what we're supposed to see, and it's across the board, no matter who you like, it's all spoon-fed to you.
I don't think my involvement will change in one direction. I think I'll always stay that way. I honestly have zero plans to get married, date, do any of that ever again. I'm perfectly content. My mom, my aunt, my grandma were all single forever. And I'm just not one of those people who need somebody else to complete me. I have, I've spoken briefly about my daughter. She has, a genetic disorder, and she's got a ton of medical issues, and it wouldn't be fair to her or somebody I would date. I wouldn't be able to split myself into that many people between work and taking care of her and being someone's girlfriend and carving out my own piece of life. It's just, I can't do it. There's people that can, and I'm happy for them. I'm just not one of them. I'm perfectly content just being me.
The rose and the dagger are complementary tattoos that usually go together, that Harry and Louis have together. I got a H, which is also the initial for my last name. Part of it is Harry and part of it is my last name. And then the last one I got is just this keyhole but it has a, what does it have? It has a P and an L and an H, which P is my first name, L is also my middle name, and H is my last name, but it's also for Louie and Harry. So